Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere east of the Mississippi. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Saturday, May 31st, 2025, and this is the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Yes, it wraps on the Agree to Disagree show because that is our flagship show. We want you to follow it on Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, all the places. Here, let me pull up the links real quick. Welcome to our weekend show. Right here at the bottom of your screen, the New American Media is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, YouTube. Search the New American Media, hit the notification bell, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, interact with it, show the algorithm that you care, and maybe they'll actually let you see some of the content that we put out. Also, we're on X at American_media_. And like I said, the podcast on Spotify and Apple, the Agree to Disagree show. On today's program, we're going to unpack what is going on in the crazy world of which we reside. We're going to go to our Instagram feed and unpack the stories there. Then we're going to go to our X feed and unpack the stories there. Some of them are funny. Some of them are entertaining. Some of them are infuriating. It's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. All right. By the way, jump into the comments section. Let us know that you're watching. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello in the chat. And when the chat gets populated, we'll probably put it on the side of the screen here so that your conversation can become a part of the program. What is this? I'm getting a text. Oh, okay. I don't need that. Got it. This from the Babylon Bee reporting. President Trump insists that the next Chinese pandemic must be made in America. Because Trump wants everything made in America. It's a funny joke. It's not funny what happened, but if you could say Anthony Fauci was behind the gain-of-function research that was banned, then they offshored it in Wuhan, China, and then they unleashed it on the world intentionally, unless someone convinces me otherwise it was intentional. Maybe the first one was. Not the first pandemic, but the most recent pandemic was actually made in America. This is a Babylon Bee thing that I found funny, but shared from Mike Barra. I saw him sharing that, and I'm like, that's funny. I'm going to put that out there. Here's a reminder. Whoop, where are we at? We're pointing the opposite direction. There we go. There's a show that I do with Mike Barra, Strictly Football. We should probably have a show coming up pretty soon, I think. We probably should, because we did a couple of shows during the draft. We were supposed to do like a draft recap show, but now we're in OTAs. I did this before. I looked up OTA for the meaning. OTA meaning organized team activities. That's what it is. I didn't even have to enter it. But yeah, I think we'll do a show coming up soon here. We need to do an update and talk about my Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, who's going to be the starting quarterback. Talk about his Seattle Seahawks. They revamped their roster big time, getting rid of a lot of players, bringing a lot of new players in. So keep your eyes peeled there. Anyway, another win for the Babylon Bee, finding humor in the absurd. Here's President Trump. Look what he did. He brought the receipts. James Dunn says Trump plays back the media's shock at the performance of the economy despite the tariffs. The doom and gloom media again. I'm sorry, they lied again as their credibility continues to plummet.
Up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. I'll tell you that the income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years. Really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting up.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell they already fix the trade, or not fix it, but to cut it in half? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the tariffs hit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does call into question some of the conventional wisdoms. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next month when we get this number, or we see some of the other numbers like current accounts, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut in half in 1 month.
And President Trump is playing this for a reason. Yes, it's pat you on the back time, but for the love of God, this freak out media, all they want to do every day is just attack Trump. They just want to punch Trump every single day. Guys, we're not watching. Look at your fucking ratings. They're in the tank for a reason. Nobody wants this doom and gloom shit. We want this country to succeed. Now, you might not like President Trump. You might not like some of his policies. But how are you going to deny the fact that he's the biggest boss we've seen sitting behind that desk in our entire lifetimes? I don't care how old you are. Go back as far as you want. Go back to Jimmy Carter. Please go back to Jimmy Carter. We are finally putting a lot of things, what is it, quantum leap? We're putting right what once went wrong. It's only been a few months. Not everything's been a win. But man, oh man, I haven't seen as many wins as we've seen out of this administration. And I'm just looking for some honest reporting. I don't know if it exists outside of the new American media. Now, of course, we're biased. What are we biased toward? We're not biased toward Republicans. We hate Republicans. The only thing worse than a Republican's a Democrat. We hate both of them because they've both ran up $37 trillion. By the way, my question, who is it that we allegedly owe this money to? It's like going to a restaurant. You sit down, you're with a significant other, you get a meal, 2 meals, maybe an appetizer, some salads, you get a couple of beverages. Okay. You wrap it up. You're like, pay, the bill will probably be $70, $100, $150, depending on where you're eating, right? You get a bill for $37 trillion. You go, excuse me, miss, I think you really fucked up this bill here. Obviously, our tab was only about $50 a piece. So can you fix that? They go, no. The people who sat here before you, they ate a whole bunch of food and they just said, put it on my tab. And the tab is the table. So that's what you owe. Who are we supposed to pay this money to? Why is this debt hanging over our head? And at what point is it the lender's fault for loaning us this much money? It's your fault. Hello, David. Any update on Spiral? Fingers crossed. David's cat has been out on the prowl. Hopefully that's what it is. But yeah, this whole idea, this concept of a debt and how much money we owe, who do we owe it to? Why don't we just tell them to pound sand? Move along. Declare bankruptcy, hit reset, and move along. Get off the Federal Reserve note, find a new cryptocurrency, to start making our own damn currency. We don't need to outsource this to the private banksters at the Federal Reserve. So I don't know. The whole concept of a debt is stupid, but I'm just looking for someone to report accurately what in the world is going on. All right, David, nothing yet, unfortunately. All right. 3 days in a row. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, please look after David Band's cat up in Ontario, Canada, Spiral. And if it be your will that he can be returned healthy, please bring him back. In your name we pray. Amen. And once again, David, just a reminder, please knock on your neighbor's doors. Knock on more doors. Shoot him a text. Send him a picture. Be like, hit me up if you see this cat. Because you're going to have 100 people looking for your cat. You know what I mean? So if you haven't had a chance to go knock on doors, like go knock on some doors. When we lost our cat, we fostered a cat out in San Francisco when we were living in Los Angeles, and he got out. Man, he was blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks away. Cats can go a long distance. And someone goes, hey, I think my Ring camera caught him at my back door. He's hanging out in my backyard. So and they narrowed the search, and they talked to all those neighbors, and then they put out their food and some traps, and they got him back. Now, in his case, he's not an indoor-outdoor cat. He was in a brand new area, but, you know, they were able to bring him back. And then he got fostered into his forever family, which was awesome. So anyway, continued thoughts and prayers to you, good sir, and Spiral, your cat. Check out the song Lateralis by Tool. Lateralis. It's spiral out, keep going are some of the words in there. How could both of here? Hold on. What's this one? How could both of our countries with trillions of dollars worth of natural resources be in debt? Well, that's the other part. Okay, who are these banksters that claim to own America? That claim, oh well, you know, we got these previous politicians to agree to all this ridiculous spending, so we're gonna run your country now. The fuck you are. The fuck you are. Molan Labe, come and take it. Come and take it. Come and take it. Out of my cold, dead hands. Privatized money supply is the problem. Yeah, the Federal Reserve, private banking cartel. It's all a mess. So I know President Trump is succeeding on a lot of levels. Granted that the whole system we live in is just upside down completely. So it's like Schrodinger's grade. President Trump gets an A and he gets an F. Like, yeah, we tried with Doge, but we haven't got any of this stuff codified in law. So what was it all for? Yes, there were a bunch of victories inside of there, but not enough. Yeah, okay, you're passing a budget, but the budget isn't decreasing the deficit. It's increasing it. What are you doing? It's the opposite of what we need. So he gets an A and he gets an F. But the fair reporting on the economy, I mean, there have been a lot of positive progress that's been made. And the doom and gloom media lied again.
Not bad. Right? Not bad.
Come on, guys.
Up 0.8%. That is almost triple the.
So, yeah, I'll just say thank you, President Trump. There we go. We'll drop that. What is this? Damning evidence in the AutoPen scandal. More activity in the last 100 days of the Biden administration than in his first 3.5 years, says the Western Journal. Western Journal, the Americans may soon get answers about the final days of the Biden administration. All right. Fingers crossed. Hey, let's talk about that 3.8% GDP growth.
Atlanta Fed now is estimated that in the
This is Charlie Kirk on Real America's Voice.
second quarter of this year, we're going to have 3.8% growth. Interesting. That's not a recession. You see, all the blue chip guys said, no, we're going into recession. The tariffs are going to put us in recession. Trump is driving the economy off the cliff. We're in a recession. No, you want it to be a recession because you hate Trump. I don't know how this is going to bear out. It might end up being that the experts were right. But I can tell you this, that the capturing of even the financial and economic media has been very disappointing. You would think that we're just talking about finance and economics that would be immune from political infiltration or from political pressure. Nope. It turns out that the blue chip consensus says, the bottom forecast says right around 1% growth. Well, now the Atlanta Fed estimates a 3.8% GDP growth number, and that is before the tax cut. That is before drill, baby, drill. And we are going, I've said this, what might the saving grace be? There is an AI boom that is about to pop in this country in a way that will create wealth the likes of which we have never seen in the next 10 years. You have to look at investing over a decade and decade. And I'm not here to tell you where to put your money, but this is a material fact. Absent some sort of black swan event, we have an AI incumbency advantage that no other country has. Why? We have land, we have safety, we have energy, we have talent, we have some form of economic liberty. We can build the data centers, we can hire the talent. And the artificial intelligence boom has not even hit the surface yet, and you're going to feel it. And that will be an American renaissance that will create trillions of dollars of wealth annually. All brought to you by President Donald Trump.
Let's go. Big positive financial news. David saying these private bankers or families have a stack of paper worth $3,000 and print out billions and trillions of dollars with interest with no value, and they've done nothing. It's criminal. Yeah, this is insane. Of course, they want to keep this system going because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to keep it going if you found a way to rig everything and you didn't have to do anything and you had every resource, every piece of power and control that you could ever hope to have across the world? Yeah, of course you would want that. Nobody else does. Goodbye. Get out of here. Oh, you think you can just get rid of them? What do you mean? Who needs them? Nobody needs them. Nobody benefits. Yeah, the corrupt people that get bought off, yeah, they benefit. The people don't. Let them pound sand. Here is a conversation between RFK Jr. and Glenn Beck about the World Economic Forum.
Where do you stand on the WEF, the World Economic Forum?
It is like, we shouldn't be paying any attention. It's a billionaires' boys club as arranging the world to shift wealth upward and to clamp down totalitarian controls on everybody else. And now they got the capacity to do it. They got all these countries running around doing what they tell them to do. It's astonishing to me that, these people go to Davos in their private jets.
Yes.
And they're able to tell these world leaders, how to govern us in ways that eradicate our constitutional and civil rights and constantly shifting wealth. I mean, COVID, we shifted $4 trillion of wealth upward. We closed all the little guys.
Yeah.
And
Home Depot was open,
and Google, and they're all colluding with each other to censor the people who are like me who are complaining about it.
Where do you stand on the WEF, the World Economic Forum?
So, shut the WEF down already. They are a threat to America. They are. So, yeah, get rid of them. We don't need these totalitarian controls. The powers that be, though, I mean, that is what they like to do. Not surprised in any way. But definitely not a fan of it. Are we hopeful? Do we have any reason to be hopeful? Well, I don't know. I say while we got a chance, let's give it everything we got. And let's shut the WEF down already. They're billionaires boys club. So the Supreme Court ruled that Trump can end Biden's mass migration pipeline pending an appeal. We saw that yesterday. That's big news. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will begin revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. Laura Loomer says, let's go. Deport Xi Jinping's daughter. She lives in Massachusetts and went to Harvard. Sources tell me PLA guards from the, what is that, People's Liberation Army guards from the Chinese Communist Party provide her with private security on U.S. soil in Massachusetts. Uh-oh. Laura Loomer and her sources. She's got sources. The Western Journal. Is there video? No video. Stephen Miller, according to the Western Journal, has a simple solution after an illegal alien killed a woman while driving 90 miles an hour. The entire family will be deported. And their family's family, and anyone they ever met, and anyone their offspring ever create. This carnage is insane. The carnage is just brutal. And I'm wondering where are the lawsuits to bankrupt the Democrat Party for allowing these illegal aliens to come in and kill Americans on American soil? That Democrat Party should be held responsible for these actions. That's how I feel. You want to hear an unhinged rant? Oh, I got a Bono story. Fun fact, I share a birthday with Bono. I met him. I said, hey, how's it going? I just wanted to come say hello. You know how they do those television shows where they say, if you were born today, you share a birthday with so-and-so and such and such. I said, I share a birthday with you. So I always see that. It's nice to meet you in person. My name's Brian. Nice to meet you. He's like, 1960. I said, no. The day and the month, not the 1960. Looking at me like, you're not 1960. I'm like, no, your birthday. Not the year, the birthday and month. He's like, 1960. It was loud. We were at a concert and he kept saying 1960, 1960, 1960. I'm like, okay. Nice meeting you, Bono. 1960. Okay, take care. 1960. I was like, what's going on? No, it's just I have a 1 in 365 chance of being born on the same day as anybody else, I guess. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me ask Grok. This is a really weird question. Do we have a 1 in 365 chance of being born on each day of the year, or are certain days more birthy than others? Oh, this is a wild question. Okay, it's not exactly 1 in 365 because birth rates vary due to biological, cultural, and medical factors. Certain days are indeed birthier than others. Am I sharing this? I think I'm sharing this. Let me full screen this. Some days are birthier than others. That's funny. Seasonal patterns. Births peak in specific months. August and September. Highest birth rates, possibly due to conceptions during winter holidays, November, December. September is the most common birth month, and September 9, notably frequent birthday. Day of the week. Weekdays, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. What? Oh, scheduled C-sections. Okay. Which hospitals often avoid on weekends. 12% fewer births on Saturdays and Sundays. Yes, it's a rough baseline, but it varies significantly. September weekdays are often the birthiest. I love that Grok gets my humor sometimes when I ask it questions. I really do appreciate that. I love using Grok. I haven't used Google in so long, and I don't like Google as a company. They've absolutely ruined YouTube. They've taken away my monetization. I'm not going to bore you with all those complaints, but I really enjoy using Grok. All right, let's go back to Bono. 1960. No, not 1960. All right, so here's Joe Rogan clapping back after this ridiculous Bono claim.
Just recent report.
By the way, this is a guy who has long been rumored to be associated with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. Allegedly photographs with multiple ladies on the island. Allegedly. None of that stuff has been proven, of course. Just simple allegations that shouldn't place any stock in these. Why is he so upset about U.S. aid? Huh. Was he given marching orders, or else they're going to release tapes like they did to Glenn Greenwald? Whoever they are.
It's not proven, but their surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID. So there's food rotting in boats, in warehouses. There is this will fuck you off. You will not be happy. No American will. But there is, I think it's 50,000 tons of food that are stored in Djibouti, South Africa, Dubai, and wait for it, Houston, Texas. And that is rotting rather than going to Gaza, rather than going to Sudan, because the people who know the codes or for the warehouse are fired. They're gone. And
are you following this?
So this, I don't know. What do you think? What is that? That's not America, is it?
Well, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Right. This is the problem. The problem is, for sure,
it's not proven, but 300,000 people already died through Doge. Okay, pal.
Or there have been a lot of organizations that do tremendous good all throughout the world. Also, for sure, it was a money laundering operation. For sure, there was no oversight. For sure, billions of dollars are missing.
Someone's saying Bono is the most despised man in Ireland.
In fact, trillions that are unaccounted for.
Yeah, trillions unaccounted for, absolute money laundering.
That were sent off into various... They don't even know where, because there's no receipts. The way Elon Musk described it, he said if any of this was done by a public company, the company would be delisted and the executives would be in prison. But in the United States, this is standard. When Biden left office, when it was clear that Trump won, in the 73 days, they spent $93 billion from the Department of Energy on just radical loans, just throwing money.
And don't call them loans. It's theft. Throwing gold bars off the Titanic is what they said.
Into places.
Right.
And there's no oversight, no receipts. Like the whole thing is, there's a lot of fraud, a lot of money laundering.
Tons of money laundering. Bono. 1960. No, Bono, not 1960. I mean, the day of the week, the day of the month. Jeez. Joey Manarino says Elon Musk worked for free and try this again. Elon Musk worked for free for America. That's a part that free for free for America. Yeah, no wonder I had a problem with that. That's a horribly written phrase. Elon Musk worked for free for America, and the GOP couldn't give a fuck to even codify all that he did. The richest man on earth gave his expertise to the government, and most of our Republicans in Congress couldn't give a damn. Nothing but lip service. Seriously, these people are scum. And we say, screw the GOP until they codify. Is that too harsh? Or do you agree? So there you go. I agree. Obviously, I wrote it. Screw the GOP until they codify these cuts. Here, let's take a listen. What's going on with U.S. Steel? Big news here. Dude, I got to mute it because there's music. Let's see. Is President Trump going to speak here, or is it just him clapping? Okay, there he's going to talk.
Thank you very much. What a group of people. We love this group.
All right. Anyway, U.S. steel soars with 14. I always have to slow down. 140,000, 140 million. $14 billion investment from Nippon Steel. Am I reading that right? American jobs, not offshoring workers. 70,000 American jobs. Hey, all right. Yeah, I saw him in Pittsburgh. They gave him a 47 Steelers jersey. Not a Steelers fan, but, you know, they call it the Rust Belt, like all this steel's rusting. Well, bring it back. Do it. Come on. Build shit in this country. Let's go. If COVID taught us anything, and it hasn't, we should be able to produce all the stuff that we need right here. Figure it out, make it work. This is funny. I don't know if this is a song that I'm allowed to play, but here's the look. Here's what happens when congressmen, after they have a fun night, and then the Mossad agent walks out of the closet holding a camera. I'll just mute it. It's like monks chanting. Yep. There's congressman after having a fun night out, and the Mossad agent walks out of the closet holding a camera. Go full Glenn Greenwald. And turn the manipulation around using a trick known as the Streisand effect. Do you know what the Streisand effect is? Define Streisand effect. Let's see what Grok says about this one. Yeah, $93 billion wasted indeed, Kenneth. Well, David, welcome, Kenneth. That's what I meant to say. That came out backward down, didn't it? Go on now, didn't it? Crikey. All right, let's see what Grok has to say. The Streisand effect is a phenomenon where an attempt to suppress, censor, or hide information, such as a photo, story, or piece of content, unintentionally draws more attention to it, causing the information to spread more widely. It's like trying to douse a fire with gasoline. The effort to conceal something backfires, amplifying public interest and scrutiny. So everyone's saying Glenn Greenwald had been discussing the war going on. Which war? I'll let you figure that one out. And if he's being, if they're outing him, if they're shaming him, and allegedly, I haven't watched the video. I've seen some still images of him dressed as a schoolgirl in his, you know, kinky attire, and it's not my cup of tea. And I guess the video gets into like submissive licking the feet of men and stuff. Yeah, I'm grossed out by that personally. But Glenn Greenwald has been on the right side of a lot of stories, so I'm so much more eager to amplify. If people are trying to shut him up, all right, Streisand affect him. Let's boomerang this, shall we? That's how I feel. I hope people will do the same about me, if that happened to me. So the term comes from a 2003 incident involving Barbara Streisand. She sued a photographer to remove an aerial photo of her California home from a publicly available collection of coastline images, citing privacy concerns. The lawsuit, intended to keep the photo obscure, instead made it go viral, with thousands downloading the image after the case gained media attention. Examples. The company tries to delete negative online reviews, prompting bloggers and users to repost them widely. Example, a government censors a controversial video, leading to mass sharing on social media platforms like X. The effect highlights the internet's power to amplify information when suppression is attempted, often fueled by public curiosity or defiance. Now, I can't claim to have been privy to everybody's analysis of this Glenn Greenwald story. However, unless I forget reading it, which I could have, unless I forget scrolling past it, which I could have, but I don't recall, I haven't seen anybody mentioning the Streisand effect regarding Glenn Greenwald and specifically his opposition to the Israeli actions in Gaza. Now, once again, I don't have a horse in the race. I'm not cheering for one side or against the other. I just think if these people won't stop killing each other, why don't you both go to some Arctic land and get some territory that nobody's using? Build your own damn city over there. Opposite ends of the globe. You can't play nice to each other. You keep bombing each other. All right, well, you're both out. But that land was promised to us. Isn't that Jesus Christ's land of Christianity? Make it a Christian theme park. And the funds that are raised can go fund the Hamas Palestinian new country over in Greenland. And then the other half of the money can go to the Israeli money for the new Israeli country in Ukraine or Antarctica or something. Right? It's my land. It's my land. How about it's none of your land? Both of you gotta go. How about that? Oh, you don't really mean that, Brian. Israel is God's chosen people. No, I'm not going into this conversation. I hate this conversation. I hate this topic. I'm hearing weird noises outside. But I do want to see if Grok can summarize Adam Carolla's answer to moving Jews out of Israel into Mexico. Couldn't find a direct. It's in his book. It's in his book. Let me see if we can do this. Like the Baja Peninsula. Jewish relocation. What does he say? It's he made the analogy of a crazy roommate at the foot of your bed holding a knife and the roommate not wanting to leave because they'd lose their security deposit. It's from his book, and he discussed it on his podcast this year. He comes up with this idea that's more interesting than mine. And I don't have one. I'm just, okay, President Me, the America in my head. Oh, look at this. Holy shit. Grok came through. Oh, I'm impressed. Because Grok was legitimately confused here. All right. Thank you for providing more context about the analogy from Adam Carolla's book in this 2025 podcast discussion. Based on the details you've shared, the analogy of a crazy roommate at the foot of your bed holding a knife, not wanting to leave because they lose their security deposit, and the reference to moving Jews out of Israel into Mexico, I can piece together a likely interpretation. The specific analogy appears to come from Carolla's book, President Me, The America That's in My Head from 2014, where he uses provocative humor to discuss various political and social issues, including the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The podcast discussion in 25 likely revisited this analogy, as Carolla frequently recycles material from his books on the Adam Carolla Show. Since I don't have the exact podcast episode or book passage, I'll summarize based on the provided context, Carolla's style, and available information. Oh no, it didn't get it. Doggone. I was giving it too much credit. It really doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's just making a guess. The point is, he's like, look, Jews succeed. They work hard. They educate. They rise through the ranks in schools. They get positions that pay well. They work in banking. They get good. They work as lawyers. The The community protects each other. They invest in each other. They help each other succeed. Put them in Mexico. Where did he say? It was like Baja, Mexico. He said the climate's almost exactly the same. It's beachfront property. Let the Jews have this area of Mexico instead of people sitting around taking siestas at 3 o'clock. They'd bust their ass and they'd turn that place into a paradise in no time. Corolla says it way better than me. And of course, it's a humorous post. It's a humorous passage from a book. It's just calling light to it. Point is that they won't stop killing each other. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of opening the news every single day, every single year, every decade. So sick of it. So get out of there. How about both of you got to go? You won't play nice in the sandbox. You're both out. That's Adam Carolla's theory. Anyway, whatever. Back to this. Congressman, after having a fun night out, and then the Mossad agent in Israel walks out of the closet holding a camera. That's where this all originated from. Because someone's going after Glenn Greenwald to embarrass him, and they're saying he's been very critical. He's a gay Jew. Sounds like a slur Cartman would yell on South Park, but Glenn Greenwald is a gay Jew. And he's criticizing Israel's war actions. I don't claim to be an expert on the war, but I do tend to side with you. Butcher 1,200 of my people at a music festival. If I'm running America and that happens at Coachella or Bourbon and Beyond or something, I go, yeah. Take him out. Pete Hegseth would go, oh, okay, sir, I got you. When you say they, who are you talking about? Everybody from the place that did that. Everyone, everywhere. Just, it's all gone. We're not dealing with this anymore. They've been attacking us for decades and decades. I'm done. They're gone, all of them. Hold on, you mean all of them? That's like no. This is a response to the war they just started. Let them pound sand. Let them feel the full wrath of why you should never mess with us like they just did. Now, the flip side to that is, hold on. It's like 9/11 and the global war on terror. What? GWOT. It's like, well, that was an inside job. And of course they needed to get an event to get us riled up, just like Pearl Harbor. We weren't going to get in World War II unless we attacked ourselves. Wink, wink. Unless we, wink, wink, allowed it to happen. Netanyahu had to know it was going to happen. Blake Wally said that. John B. Wells has said that. A lot of smart people have said that. I get the thought. I would like to see the case laid out in a better way. I haven't seen it really articulated in a way that I can't like quite grasp and hold that position as an opinion of my own. I hear what they're saying. And it's like, no, don't let them take them out. They're trying to expand and they set their own people up and they killed their own people so that they could steal land from their neighbors. Okay, you don't want that. But I can at least, what's that Chris Rock thing talking about O.J. Simpson's ex-wife riding around in a fancy car with some fancy boy, all on the money that you gave her because she took it from you in the divorce? Now, I'm not saying you should have killed her, but I understand. I understand the different perspectives of the people saying you're committing war crimes and it's a genocide in Palestine, and it's like, well, yeah, they shouldn't have started a fucking war. You know how you avoid genocide? Hang out, do the Abraham Accord stuff, and don't attack your neighbors. You know how you get exploded and demolished into rubble? Go attack your neighbor. If my neighbor was attacking me, you're damn right I'd go after my neighbor, especially if it had been going on for year after year after year after year. Anyway, I hate the topic. And this is all from me trying to explain this funny little meme. This is what it looks like when a congressman sets down his beer after having a fun night and the Mossad agent walks out of the closet holding a camera. Gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. And so, I'm comparing this to the Glenn Greenwald story of yesterday and Mossad from this meme and Israel and Palestine for the obvious reasons, okay? I'm not pro or anti. I sort of don't give a shit. I don't know. I know that's mean to say, I guess. I'm not on Palestinian payroll. I'm not going to cosplay wearing the face scarf and waving a flag of some other country. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for Israel. I'm not on payroll from them. Oh, by the way, speaking of payroll, I told you where to follow us, but I didn't tell you where our tip jar is. For anyone who likes the program that we're doing, I doubt we're going to be getting some of that funny money today. Patreon, the New American Media. Today's the last day of the month, so it's going to bill tomorrow, I believe. So for all the people following us and subscribing there, it helps. It helps keep the lights on. It definitely comes in handy. So thank you to everybody who's a Patreon member for the New American Media. Also, we're on Venmo and Cash App at Brian Engelman on Venmo, Brian Engelman on Cash App, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. That's all scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Of course, for countervailing views on health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. That's at the bottom of your screen. All right. That was a bit of a detour. I really don't like talking about that topic, but we have to. Is it, guys, David, Kenneth, is it okay that I don't have a horse in the race? Does it sound like I'm pro-Israel? Does it sound like I'm anti-Palestine? Does it sound like, what do you guys think about me and my coverage of it? I don't talk about it every day. I just don't. Is that bad? Do you care? Do you want me to talk about it more? All right. I just bought a cash register. Yay, Facebook Marketplace. The reselling life. Okay. Let me say time frame. Busy at the moment. There we go. Okay, moving on. Hey, look, never forget. All right, Kenneth is cool with it. That's good. Yeah, I just, I don't want to see anybody dying. I don't want to see people unnecessarily dying. I really get frustrated when these wars pop off. They keep going. I don't like being lied to. I don't like being manipulated. I don't like being money laundered. I don't like being threatened. I don't like being bribed and blackmailed. I don't like any of it. Can't stand it. Yeah, here, check this out. Never forget when Biden did this. Watch. Sending a forklift. Oh, there's music. Sent forklifts to let illegal aliens through the razor wall. This is the mess that Biden created. Let's say Democrats. Actually, the deep state Democrats are traitors, and they should be sued into oblivion for every illegal alien crime against Americans. They let these monsters in to ruin us. Time to lawfare the Democrats into bankruptcy. They did it intentionally. Oh, there's a migration crisis. There's no crisis. There's no crisis. You're doing this. This is your plan. Don't gaslight me, bro. Yeah, here's one. Here's a nice meme. There's a family of 4. Looks like the little kid's driving. We are going to Mexico to vote in their elections and demand free healthcare while waving the American flag. If they ask for our papers, we'll riot, attack police, and sue them. You up for a road trip? We're just saying, make this make sense.
Let's break it down.
This is my new favorite channel. I don't know if the information presented is entirely accurate, but let's give it a go. Yesterday's Titanic Federal Reserve episode was interesting. Let's listen to this one about cities and agrarian culture. Whoop, volume went away.
You don't live in a city. You live in a designed ecosystem of dependency.
Come on, Peter. Cities are progress, roads, hospitals, tech.
Now here's the trap. 150 years ago, 90% of people lived on land. They grew food, raised kids, built homes. Today, less than 1%. You don't grow your food. You don't collect your water. You don't generate power. You rent everything, even your time.
But we have choices, man.
No, you don't.
So these are fake voices. These aren't actually. This isn't actually an episode, as far as I know. They're kind of using some sort of, modulator.
Choose between subscriptions. Everything else is gone.
You're told this is freedom, but it's just comfort disguised as control.
Yeah, all these rental things instead of owning stuff. No thanks. You know what my favorite vehicle is? The one that's paid off. You know what my favorite house is? The one that's paid off. Just live within your means. Come on. Oh, yeah, you'll own nothing and like it. Yeah, no. Get out of here with that shit. That's like rent-a-center attitude.
Wasn't this just evolution?
It was engineering. They pushed people off land with fake wars, collapsing economies, industrial progress. Then flooded cities with advertising, noise, sugar, porn, and said, welcome to the future.
Yeah, but cities got medicine, education, security.
They also got chronic illness from processed food, 0 family structure, 1 in 4 people on pills, and 10-year-olds addicted to screens.
Cities give you everything except strength. No land, no tribe, no sovereignty.
So what? The countryside is dying too.
Exactly. They're killing the last places where people could be free, destroying rural towns, pushing everyone into 15-minute smart zones.
Digital ID, universal rent, controlled food. You'll own nothing and need a QR code to eat.
You think you're in a city? You're in a labor extraction grid, a zoo for humans, with faster Wi-Fi.
So this is slavery with LED lights?
Bingo. You work to survive, not to live. And the more you comply, the more they reward you, with dopamine and delivery apps.
So what's the end game?
Total compliance, total dependence. No escape.
They broke the farmer, they broke the man. Now they're breaking the idea of freedom itself.
So if all this is intentional, what the hell should I do?
First, accept it was all designed. Then, start designing your exit. Learn to grow food, collect clean water, fix your body, join a community, own land, or die paying rent forever.
Because when blackout comes, your Wi-Fi dies, stores close, power's off, and suddenly your life disappears.
That's when most realize they don't even know how to start a fire. But by then, it's too late. Let's break it down.
That's loving this new series. Keep it up. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah,
Let's break it down. You don't.
All right, next. Tim runs his mouth. Tim Young. I can't wait to not believe whatever video they put out. According to the New York Post, FBI will soon release video proving Jeffrey Epstein was not murdered. Clear as day. They magically don't have the cameras inside his cell, but they want to magically have hallway cameras that are supposed to prove something? No way. Not buying it. Did you hear this? Women's reproductive
health is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life. Women's reproductive.
What? The least important thing a woman's reproductive system does is produce life?
Health is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life. Women's reproductive
over and over and over.
Women's
and over
reproductive.
We said every week this person seems to feed the theory that, well, you know, producing life is godly, and every normal person recognizes this. So what the fork is this person talking about? And is this a woman that gave birth to 2 kids, or, you know? Well, Tim Young put it as mansplaining, so that's what he's saying, you know.
Women's reproductive health is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life.
A woman would not say this. I don't know what to say. Either this person is trolling us. Okay, either this woman is trolling us week after week with a ridiculous Freudian slip or an intentional. I've covered her multiple times now. Multiple times. Either she is intentionally trolling the people that call her Big Mike, or she's kind of letting the cat out of the bag, or he is letting the cat out of the bag. Which one? I mean, look, we're not crazy. She's obviously a woman that gave birth to 2 kids, right? You'd agree with that, right? Come on, every sane person would agree that this woman who just said reproductive health has the least of which has to do with producing human life. That's obviously a woman that gave birth to 2 children. And Barack Obama's heterosexual, and that's his wife, and she was born a woman, and she is a woman, right? You'd agree with that? Or do some of you disagree? The least important thing a woman's reproductive system does is produce life. You couldn't get a stupider comment. So I don't know what to. It hurts my brain to comprehend that. Anyway. Also, isn't it weird watching people still direct their hate toward people telling them the truth instead of those who lied to them? Kenneth, did you just say, can I rent a feeling? Oh, no, wait, wasn't it, can I borrow a feeling? Wasn't that the, oh, shoot, what's Milhouse's dad's name? Van Houten. Kirk Van Houten. Can I borrow a feeling? Can I rent a feeling?
Just be clear about this.
All right, let's be clear about this. Josh Hawley exposing what's going on with the Chinese government. And Meta, are you aware of this?
Just be clear about this. Here in this document, Facebook is talking about making Chinese user data available to the Chinese government because they're going to store that data in China. Is that correct?
Correct.
But when you store that data in China, Americans who exchange messages or other information with Chinese Facebook users, that would mean the Chinese government could get access to the American data as well. Is that correct?
Through the POP servers, potentially, yes.
And Facebook was willing to take that risk?
Yes, there was a lot of discussion about this, and ultimately, yes.
I mean, this is extraordinary. This is exactly contrary to what Facebook has represented for years. Here, they're willing to build data centers, store data in China. They are willing explicitly to give the Chinese government access to it. And if that means that American user data is also compromised, they're willing to do that too. All for profits in China. There was virtually, just be clear about this. Here in this document,
they're saying this is treason.
Just be clear about this.
Is that something you agree or disagree with? I mean,
I believe that.
Important. Hey, here's something I agree with. I'm wondering if you guys agree. Here's Gary V.
I believe that life is how you see it. If you decide it's bad and the world is traumatic and horrible, then it is. Then it is. And if you...
And there's random music in the background. Is it going to get me flagged? Damn it.
Decide between AI and social.
If you decide between AI and social media and live shopping and the phone that there's never been more opportunity to be creative and build your life, and it's the greatest era, then it is. Whether you consciously know this or it's subconscious, you're trying to choose optimism. You're trying to choose offense. You're trying to choose winning. Hold on to that and don't let anybody drag you into the alternative. Life is how you see it. So learn the tools that will allow you to choose optimism and hope versus cynicism and fear. I'll just say bravo, Gary. Agreed. I'm trying, man.
I believe that life
Ringo,
is how you.
I'm trying real hard.
There is in your
So here's Peter Ducey asking a question. I wish they would have let him finish his question, but Elon does not let him finish at this press conference yesterday. Take a listen.
Today that accuses you of blurring the line between. It's the New York Times. Is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization? I think it is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on. Okay. Next question. There is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line.
Let's move on. Next question.
There is a New York Times report.
Hey, this is kind of good, huh? Why you should be careful with the anti-capitalist mentality. Hate, envy, victimhood, blame, and excuses. It makes success look like a problem. The anti-capitalist mentality teaches people to see success as unfair instead of seeing it as the reward for hard work and creativity. This mindset kills ambition and punishes those who dare to achieve more. 2, it blames the system instead of taking responsibility. When people believe every failure is society's fault, they stop looking for ways to grow. Without personal responsibility, real progress becomes impossible. This is such a good lesson. 3, it hides the real story about poverty. Capitalism didn't create poverty. It gave people a way out of it. Before free markets, poverty was the normal condition of human life. 4, it feeds envy instead of motivation. It's easy to resent those who succeed. It's harder and much more powerful to be inspired by them and build your own path. 5, it opens the door to more control, not more freedom. When people start demanding fairness by force, they end up asking for bigger government and giving up their own freedom without realizing it. So, are you an anti-capitalist? I'm going to say great lesson. Loving it. I really like that. According to Flat Earthers, this is how Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. They didn't just go from here to here. They went, yeah, I don't know. You might have to stop. What is this? AF Post is reporting that Ron DeSantis. Have you ever thought about this, though, with Flat Earthers and Pearl Harbor? Like, of course, they went from there to there. This is an undoable flight. Anyway, something to think about. Ron DeSantis, according to the AF Post, stated that America wouldn't exist without Israel because Israel is the cradle of Western civilization? Huh? Huh? No. Comments. Oh, the comments should be toxic. Anthony, LOL, completely false. Israel needs us, not the other way around. Chosino, they worship a Roman's fort wall. Okay. Adversity First says, how many Christians know that you're asked to remove your cross when visiting the Wailing Wall? You can find it at the Times of Israel article. I'm betting most Christians didn't know this. Is that true? Go over there and claim Christianity and see what happens. Aren't you spit on? Not everybody, but some. Zion Ron. Anyway, can't really go into the comments much more, but what? America wouldn't exist without Israel? No, I'm good. I'm cap. I'm calling cap on that. Apparently, Russian scientists defrosted several prehistoric worms, and 2 woke up. After thawing, the 2 worms began to move and eat. One is 32,000 years old, and the other is 41,700 years old. The comment down here, it's Bart Simpson in the meme. This year is not the year. Freeze them back. This year is not the year. Freeze them back. It's kind of funny. President Trump released this after the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Let the deportations begin. And I'm sorry. I am sorry for anyone who's been caught up with the Democrat deep state agenda of forced colonization through the Obama doctrine with their puppet Joe Biden. If you got caught up in this and you got to go back, look, I'm sorry that you believed the Democrats and Joe Biden. But in a commonsensical society, we don't just let 30 million people waltz into the country unvetted. It doesn't happen. It's not allowable. So the lesson is don't believe Democrats ever. Don't trust Democrats ever. Don't rely on Democrats ever. Let's listen to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni.
The mainstream propaganda machine predicted that a conservative government would have isolated Italy, deleting it from the map of the world, driving away investors, and suppressing fundamental freedoms. They were wrong. Their storytelling was fake. The reality is that Italy is thriving. Employment is at a record high. Our economy is growing. Our fiscal policy is back on track. And the flow of illegal migration has decreased by 60% in the last year. And most importantly, we're expanding freedom in every aspect of Italians' lives. The mainstream propaganda machine predicted that a conservative government would have isolated Italy, deleting it from the map of the world, driving away investors, and suppressing fundamental freedoms. They were wrong. Their storytelling was fake. The reality is that Italy is thriving. Employment is at a record high. Our economy is growing.
Reset, right?
Our fiscal policy is back on track. And the flow of illegal migration.
Yes, okay. That reset. Yep. Italy is on Team MAGA. And when I say Team MAGA, I just mean like common sense. Common sense is back in style now in some of these countries. So let's just hope the trend continues and we can get a real Captain America Avengers style super team of global leaders to help President Trump restore sanity to the world. Speaking of restoring sanity to the world, Stephen A. Smith is making a lot of sense. I think he's low-key trying to become the new leader of the Democrat Party. I'm not kidding.
I can't wait to talk to Jake Tapper.
Stephen A. Smith can't wait to talk to Jake Tapper, and he's talking with Officer Tatum here.
Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Because I want to know personally what role Jake Tapper played in not reporting on certain information. I told you I watched the interview with Megyn Kelly from start to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, she was sensational. She did a hell of a job. My point to you is that we saw it. How did Jake Tapper not see it? And as he continues to speak about all of this, where's his...
No. Jake Tapper did see it. He's a lying piece of shit. He didn't see it. He told Laura Trump, President Biden has worked really hard to get rid of his stutter, and you're making fun of him for that. No, it's not. Nobody with a brain ever confused a stutter with whatever we were seeing with Biden. These guys are sock puppets. They've been lying to you for years, and they're still lying now.
Me a culprit because I don't see it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be real interested in asking him about that when he comes on this show. The hatred for Trump was so deep that folks didn't want to report on his competition in any kind of negative way. Then if the hatred for Trump was so deep that you were willing to compromise your own professional integrity, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a pundit, a commentator, a politician, etc., I mean, damn, who are we to believe now? It makes Trump look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles just to ensure that he didn't win the presidency. Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him? Does it not buffer his argument about fake news, fake news, fake news? Does it not buffer the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt?
Hold on. I got to get in here. Where is the lie? Where is the diversion from what Stephen A. Smith is saying? There is none. We knew this the whole time, that they were lying and cheating and stealing and being a fool. We see it.
I can't wait to talk to Jake Tapper.
Yeah. Tapper didn't miss anything. He was lying to us then. He is lying to us now. It makes it seem like Trump was right. No, Trump is right. Was right. Remains right. Oh, here's a dollar store Obama. It's a pretty funny phrase for this guy. You know, this guy even sort of talks like him.
There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle.
There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle.
Russia interfered with our election.
Oh, here we go. Russia.
Attacked our democracy.
Oh, our constitutional republic. Okay.
For the sole purpose of artificially placing someone at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Look at that. Oh, by the way, there's random irrelevant music in the background. Let's see if it's flagged by YouTube.
They were successful.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
Oh, he's an illegitimate president. Yeah, see, the Democrats have been lying to you for years about President Trump winning 3 elections in a row. They couldn't even accept the first victory in a row. Of course, they lied about 2020. Here's Hillary Clinton. Yep, illegitimate president. So what do you do with an illegitimate president? Oh, I don't know. Is that a call to violence? Kind of sort of seems a little bit like it, doesn't it?
The president or elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see that.
Oh, Jerry Nadler said he's not legitimate president. Huh. Were you putting out a dog whistle to take him out in Butler, Pennsylvania, you creep?
President-elect as a legitimate president.
Oh, John Lewis doesn't see President Trump as a legitimate president. Really?
You said you...
Really? Because we didn't go along with your deep state garbage, because we didn't like Hillary Clinton in 2016. Wow. They spent 4 years calling Trump illegitimate.
Believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We
yeah, Russia's what? Russia's existence? Russia exists, therefore, we don't believe that the president's legitimate.
have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
So one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually is.
There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle.
Yep. Wait until everyone learns about how legitimate 2020 was or wasn't. We'll leave it at that. Bunch of liars and gaslighters. All right, so according to the New York Post, a Secret Service whistleblower said Joe Biden would get lost in his closet at the White House, according to Senator Josh Hawley. All right, look. Dollar General Obama, yep. Did Jake Tapper. All right. I'm going to need to see pictures of the inside of this closet. All right. I need to see pictures of the closet. That's all I'm saying. I think Biden would get lost anywhere, honestly. But how big of a closet are we talking about? And you can't find your way out. Like, what are we even saying? I'm all for bashing Biden. I think he's a child sniffing pedo. I think he's a money laundering, treasonous POS. But getting lost in a closet. Okay, obviously not my closet. I just have a regular closet. In fact, I built this closet. This closet didn't exist in the studio. That's a story for another day. Pretty good story, though. Pretty cool. Anyway, I need more info on getting lost in a closet. Funny story, but let's listen to Josh explain.
I'll tell you something that I haven't said before because it came from a Secret Service whistleblower this past year. I talked to so many of them after the attempted assassinations of President Trump. But this Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. I mean, the guy literally stumbling around in the White House residence couldn't find his way out of his own closet. The president of the United States. I mean, this is outrageous. We were lied to. I'll tell you something that I haven't said before because it came from a Secret Service whistleblower this past year. I talked to so many of them after the attempted assassinations of President Trump. But this Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. I mean, the guy literally stumbling around in the White House residence couldn't find his way out of his own closet. The president of the United States. I mean, this is outrageous.
So, I mean, look, we knew in 2019 what this guy was and what he wasn't. We all saw it. Oh, Alex Jones talking about James O'Keefe preparing to expose a Trump admin official accused of covering up what files?
James O'Keefe's, one of the two big stories he's breaking is about someone in the Trump administration covering up Epstein. And then he put out a little short trailer yesterday that shows an image or still shot of video of Pam Bondi. So he didn't tell me the specifics. When he called me and me alone as a dead man switch, so I was, I guess, flattered by him. He's like, I think you might be the only person that I know has the integrity to tell this in case something happens. And then when he told me, I was like, yeah, you are in danger, buddy. He told me the other stuff too. But he wouldn't even say who in the administration. I made some phone calls. And I told the crew over the weekend, I said, it's Pam Bondi. According to my sources. And because the White House already knows about this. So I wouldn't even tell the crew last week what the specifics were because I don't want to endanger them. And then there's two other big stories. And it looks like in this little promo video that he put out, he's kind of putting the three together because it's a big Pfizer news. And then some more Epstein news connected to the Democrats. But I'm going to stop right there. James O'Keefe's, one of the two big stories he's breaking is about someone in the Trump administration covering up Epstein. And then he put out a little short trailer yesterday that shows an image or still shot of video of Pam Bondi. So he didn't tell me the specifics. When he called me and me alone as a dead man switch, so I was, I guess, flattered by him. He's like, I think you might be the only person that I know has the integrity to tell this in case something happens. And then when he told me, I was like, yeah, you are in danger, buddy. He told me the other stuff too. But he wouldn't even say who in the administration. I made some phone calls. And I told the crew over the weekend, I said, it's Pam Bondi. According to my sources. And because the White House already knows about this.
Anyway, let's see what happens here. I'm not trusting Bondi Patel or Bongino at this point. Hey, how are egg prices in Florida? How are egg prices in Ontario? How are egg prices out there for everybody? Out of curiosity. Huh? My egg prices are still $5, $6, $7 for good eggs. Pasture-raised eggs are still very expensive. But egg prices have now declined, according to Emma Mitchum here. 62% since President Trump took office. They were $6.55 a dozen. They're now $2.52 a dozen. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't go around needlessly killing birds. Never, ever, ever forget, this was done by a media that claims they are news. They also claim anyone supporting Trump is a liar and a Nazi and worthy of dehumanization. We said, never forget, the Fine People hoax was perhaps the most divisive, destructive Democrat race hoax of all time. Screw them. And look at Jake Tapper here with this whole act. I'm sorry, hold on. All right, you're telling me you have the video? All right, let's roll this. That's an act. That's bullshit. That's performance art. Watch this.
Have it? Okay, I'm being told we have it. Thank you. Run it, please.
Excuse me, to protest. Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
That was President Trump saying that very fine people were marching alongside neo-Nazis and skinheads and white.
They cut it off right there. That's called a RUPAR. When you selectively edit something, you cut out something to completely change the context. And this was a 100-degree opposite day change of context.
White supremacists.
I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis. Believe me, not all of those people were white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
I'm not talking about that group or that group. They should be condemned totally. They intentionally cut that out to completely change the narrative. Obama, the week of the election, was still repeating this lie. Joe Biden was still repeating this lie. Fuck anyone who pushed this hoax, this Fine People hoax. Chris Wallace at Fox News. Screw all of you.
But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis.
Yeah. It was something about town history. There was a statue of a guy that fought in the war. And the war was more complex than good guy, bad guy. It was, there's a war going and a guy from this region led the troops from this area against the attack. Like that, it's a nuanced thing. You want to add a secondary statue and add some extra context. You want to take, what was it, Virginia? This was at Charlottesville. You want to add another statue in the same area to add additional context? Smart, wise, I could get behind that. I'm fine with that. That's not what it was. We're tearing down history like it didn't happen. If you remove history, you can't learn from it. We're not doing that. You didn't get rid of, what was it, the 21st Amendment? What was the amendment that got rid of, was the 21st Amendment the one that brought back? No, 21st was the amendment that was prohibition, and the 33rd is what brought it back. Alcohol use. They didn't delete the fact that they passed prohibition. They left it in there so that we can learn from it, so that we can know this is what people in the past did, and this is why they decided that wasn't a good idea. That's important.
And white nationalists, okay?
This is a president who said there were, quote, very fine people on both sides in a...
What an asshole, Jake Tapper. Don't let him try to whitewash and, oh, you know, we just didn't see the problems with Biden. I'm going to make a few $1 million off of this. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm one of the good guys. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Charlottesville neo-Nazi Klan march in Charlottesville, and his infamous reference to very fine people.
Infamous reference to very fine people. Fuck you, Jake Tapper.
There were, quote, very fine people, and
but not the neo-Nazis, the white nationalists, who should be totally condemned. You fucking asshole for cutting that part out. God, we don't hate Jake Tapper enough and CNN enough.
Both sides of that Charlottesville, Virginia march, and candidate Trump, I tried to...
Yeah, both sides of tearing down a piece of history. Or if you want to add additional context, put a second statue up, raise some money, be a builder, not a destroyer. There are people like, no, it's there. We're not taking it down. I'm not worshiping anything at the altar of this guy or any particular ideology. Certainly nothing bad.
You get him 3 times to condemn David Duke. He wouldn't do it.
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
A lot of people think that he has a soft spot in his heart for, or at least won't condemn,
a soft spot in his heart. Screw you, Jake Tapper.
White supremacists.
As I said on Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal.
And there's this big effort by Trump supporters to pretend that the president didn't say what he said.
Come on. You cannot ever believe Jake Tapper knowing that he went so far all in on this. It's okay to get this wrong in the moment. If you didn't have access to the full video, he had full access. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Call this all a hoax.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Okay.
Have it? Okay, I'm being told.
All right. So just, come on. This is Jake Tapper. Fake Tapper. Evil people trying to twist the truth. Truth, David, yes. Neato-Nazis. Yeah, maybe not so neato. All right, here's this one. Libertarian Party wants to remind us our national debt's over 36 trillion. For context, 36 trillion hours is 4.1 billion years ago. Total national, state, and unfunded liability debt brings the total up to $157.45 trillion. This equals an amount of, what is this? $1.5 billion owed per, or $1 billion owed per U.S. taxpayer. You and your children will pay this debt either through taxes or inflation. How much do you hate the government now? Steve Bannon on Rav saying, we love the Chinese people, but the Chinese Communist Party is the enemy of freedom. Watch this video if you like. We know that to be true. And look, we got men competing against women, and the women aren't standing up for it. The women aren't supporting the WNBA. It's letting dudes compete against chicks. It's madness. Let's take a listen here. This is from, what is this from? Gutfeld?
The problem with women's sports and these issues is women. Mm-hmm. Where are you? There's more women showing up for Queers for Palestine than are showing up for girls being subjected to this.
Yeah.
Where are the women? Where is the marching? Where is it? Protect your daughters. Fathers are now training and getting ferocious again to protect their daughters. Where are the women? Where are the pro athletes? Because what it looks like to me, and again, we make jokes. Greg's not sexist. I am closetly, but not privately, publicly. But we don't hold them accountable. They never stand up. The selfishness. I've made it in professional sports, so I don't give a damn about any other girl coming up. And that's the message you're sending, because if this was happening in men's sports, that you would have men athletes standing up going, this isn't right. Well, we did have it. When you wouldn't let black men play with white men, people stood up. They marched. We got Jackie Robinson. We got change. All this takes is women to do something about it. So when are you going to show up for your daughters?
Nicely done.
And where are the boycotts? Where are the boycotts? Pun intended. Ooh, that's good. Of dudes competing against chicks. Why are the adults allowing this? Blame everywhere we look. Blame is everywhere we look. Stand up to this madness and restore sanity. Ooh, the boycott. I'm going to write that down. Boycott, pun intended, boys and girls sports. There we go. Okay. Here we go. The S&P 500. David, Kenneth, any of you invested in the S&P 500? The S&P 500 posted its strongest May performance since 1990. Holy shit. And it's not that long ago. 1990 was only 10 years ago, right? Quick, how many years ago was 1990? 10 years ago. Time flies, doesn't it? It really is that crossing the millennium crossing. What am I trying to say? Going into the year 2000. In the year 2000. In the year 2000. Question of the day. What's that from? Yeah, sorry to remind you, but 1990 was 35 years ago. Oh my gosh. S&P 500 posted its strongest May performance since 1990, while the NASDAQ recorded its largest May percentage gain since 1997. Now, this post from 300 Guns says not one Democrat fought to bring back any of the Americans who were held in prisons or were hostages anywhere around the world. Think about that next time you vote. I don't know if none of them fought to bring anyone back, but they certainly didn't accomplish very much. But you've seen Republicans and under the Trump administration really going to get our people back. Scott Jennings, again, the lone voice of reason, it seems, on CNN.
I do think we can't ignore the Biden of it. There is a real feeling that a major U.S. news story that had impacts on the entire country was just not covered with the same scrutiny that if it was happening in a Trump administration would have. That's the reality. But
And why didn't they cover it? What's the answer? Because everybody knows, you could say it. The answer is because
you could say
media is geared.
You could say that for Fox News.
To
You could
cover
say
up
that
for
is
the
true, though. You could say Fox News doesn't cover it, Scott. What are you talking about? Everybody does it. Everybody does it.
Everybody does it. Yep, media is geared to cover up for Democrats and attack a Republican. You doggone right. Hey, everybody, it's time for the MAGA Minute. I like the MAGA Minute. I like the branding. I like the press conferences. I just like how this administration is run. I really do. I liked how the last administration was run, but this one is way better.
It's the weekend, so it's time for another MAGA Minute. Let's roll through it.
Hey, there's music in the background. Let's see if YouTube censors my content so it can't be shown across the globe, you assholes.
Consumer confidence surged in May with its biggest monthly jump in 4 years. U.S. new home sales jumped to its highest rate since 2022 as home prices continue to fall. And for the first time in the history of Rasmussen polling, a majority of respondents...
Home prices are continuing to fall? Is that true? Let me see what Zillow says. Let me look on Zillow. Let's try this. Well, yeah, it's a little lower than, well, I mean, it's sort of ballpark, and, you know, look, things are still going for a little bit more than you're asking for them. My place is up a lot from when I got it. Wish it was up a little bit more, but I mean, it's seen a nice. It appears to still be going up, honestly, if I'm glancing at it. Yeah, it would probably go a little higher. It shows well. Renovations have been done, and they don't know that.
said the country is on the right track.
Yeah, Rasmussen poll said for the first time in their history, a majority of Americans feel that America's on the right track. The first time in 19 years of asking that question.
In a huge win for the MAHA movement.
Technically, it was 50%, or it was 50 and some change. All you need is some change to say it's a majority. So slightly more than 50% say for the first time in 19 years of asking this same question, Rasmussen says America's on the right path.
Skittles agreed to remove titanium dioxide from their products as a result of the administration's hard work. The president signed several executive orders this week to
Yeah, now let's get rid of... I think it was great for Skittles to get rid of the titanium dioxide, but we still have a little bit more work to do on the petroleum-based food dyes in the coloring of the Skittles.
Restore the gold standard of science and reinvigorate our nuclear energy industry. President Trump also gave the commencement.
And by the way, that gold standard of science, oh my God, we've been being conned by Big Pharma for so long. All of these institutions have been lying to us, giving us partial stories. Huge update there.
Address at West Point, and on Memorial Day, he visited Arlington National Cemetery to pay tribute to the fallen heroes whose sacrifice has kept our nation free. The administration also sent a letter calling on all federal agencies to cancel their wasteful government contracts with Harvard University as Harvard continues to engage in nonsensical race-based discrimination.
Thank God we are stopping this anti-white discrimination now. It's been happening most of my adult life. Most of my life, really. Most of my life. It's been so ramped up under the Obama doctrine, though. Thank you for that. I can't believe we lived in a world where it's like, well, bad things happened to one group of people in the past by people that weren't you, to people that are none of us. Therefore, we're going to discriminate against people that look like you as payback or something. How did that ever get passed?
The president hosted a press conference with Elon Musk to celebrate the rooting out of fraud, waste, and abuse in our government led by Doge. And the president traveled to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to announce a planned partnership between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel that will create at least 70,000 jobs and equates to a...
President's looking good, by the way. He's looking svelte. He's looking like he shed some baby fat. By the way, I've been doing a little bit better. Not perfect, not you know. I don't know that I'd give myself a perfect grade, but what's really been helping me is a couple days of fasting each week. Oh, it's made such a difference. I guess maybe I eat like a fat boy on... Speaking of fat boys, check this out. Are you ready for Freddy? 1984, 1988. Yep, 1988. Are you ready for Freddy? I haven't listened to this forever. I want to play this. Fire my record player up, play this once, and then list it on eBay. I got so much cool shit to list on eBay. I just got to list more of it. I'm not running a museum here. Anyway, he's looking good. He's looking healthy. You know, the stress was getting to him at the end of that last term, and it's good to see him looking better. He's got so much energy. We're so fortunate to have a real leader in the White House.
$14 billion investment in Pennsylvania. That's it for this week's MAGA Minute. We'll see you next week as we get closer to passing the one big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, I would still like to see some... Let's say the BBB is fine and all, but how are we addressing this insane debt spiral? Why aren't we cutting more spending in the BBB? Serious question from a MAGA supporter here. That's from the White House account. And finally, we're talking about China as an adversary. Here's Jamie Dimon from Chase Morgan.
Biggest one, underlying
JP Morgan Chase, or whatever they're calling it.
Both that is the enemy within. I'm not as worried about China. China is a potential adversary. They're doing a lot of things well. They have a lot of problems. What I really worry about is us. Can we get our own act together, our own values, our own capability, our own management? What you heard today on stage was the amount of mismanagement is extraordinary. By state, by city, for pensions, and that stuff is going to kill us. And, I always get asked this question, are we going to be the reserve currency? And no. If we are not the preeminent military and the preeminent economy in 40 years, we will not be the reserve currency. That's a fact. Just read history. Now, I think we will be. Warren Buffett here would tell you we're enormously resilient. I agree with that. I think this time is different. This time we have to get our act together, and we have to do it very quickly. Biggest one, underlying both that.
Yeah, it's time to get our act together and do it quickly. All right. Skittles lead to skid marks. No, it's Skittles. Skit. Like I'm running a skit, not skid marks from Skittles. And yes, it was from Conan O'Brien. In the year 2000. I remember I actually called NBC and I complained. Look, I like The Simpsons, but I didn't fully understand the Conan O'Brien show right off the bat. What I knew for sure is that they took Rush Limbaugh off the air to put Conan O'Brien on. And I'm like, oh, come on. I've been liking the Rush Limbaugh show. This is good. What are you doing? I called and complained. See how I'm that guy. I was the original Karen. But yeah, Conan has become one of my favorite comedians. So totally fine with him and his career, of course. But that's all I have for you today. This is the weekend edition. We got more to get to on Monday. I'll be back again. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, David. Spiral, wherever you are, buddy, come on back. You're freaking us all out. Fingers crossed. It is mating season, so let's just keep some hope up. But really, David, once again, if you haven't knocked on neighbors' doors and sent them a text message and like, hey, here's a picture of my cat, here's my number, can you please look around, check your garage, check your sheds, check under your house if there's a loose vent, just check your yards, check the street, check your Ring camera, especially at night, see if you got a cat walking around. You'd be amazed what can happen if you just ask people to keep their eyes peeled. I've had neighbors knock on my door, and I'll tell you what, I check my Ring camera every single notification. And I found an orange cat or two, and they're like, no, I'm sorry, it's not my orange cat, but thank you so much for looking. I'm like, absolutely. And as I would walk through the neighborhood, I'm looking around for orange cats. If you just put it in people's heads, like you turn one person looking or hoping into like 100 people, and then they're all in their own orbits. So anyway, yes, I did rush to conclusions about Rush Limbaugh and Conan O'Brien. Funny. Yes, the boycott, pun intended. Keep boys out of girls' sports. All right, folks, go out there, enjoy some sunshine. And I'll be back on Monday, signing out for everybody in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.